Hey, it's Jeff with some big news. We've recently launched a new podcast. It's called Essential English Expressions. Season 1 is out now, and each episode is all about how to use one essential English expression. If you like plain English, you'll love our new podcast, Essential English Expressions. Click the link in the show notes for more information. Here's how a new pope gets chosen. Hi there, everyone. It's Jeff, and this is Plain English for Monday, May 5th, 2025. If you are learning English, you are in the right place. Here at Plain English, we tell stories about things going on in the world, and we go at a nice, slow pace so you can understand every word. And every episode has a complete set of practice exercises and resources. Today's episode is number 772, and you might be wondering where to find all of that. It's easy. You find it by the episode number. So you go to plainenglish.com/772, because this is number 772, and by the magic of the internet, it will take you to the right place. Every episode has a story, and this episode is all about how the Catholic Church elects a new pope, a new spiritual leader. Pope Francis died on April 21st, 2 weeks ago exactly. He was 88 years old, and today's story is all about how a new pope is chosen. Before we start today's episode, I wanted to give you the exciting news, the return of the expressions. If you've been in our world for a while, you know that I used to teach English expressions in this podcast. I took a short break, but now the expressions are back. We're doing them a little differently than before. Now, we're giving each English expression its own episode, and we're putting them all together in a special podcast called Essential English Expressions. Season 1 of Essential English Expressions is already available. It has 14 episodes, and in each episode, I show you exactly how to use an English expression, and I give you lots of examples. Just search Essential English Expressions in your podcast player or click the link in the show notes. Now, back to today's Plain English episode. Whenever a pope dies, like Pope Francis in April 2025, or whenever a pope steps down, as Pope Benedict XVI did in 2013, a new leader must be chosen. The new pope becomes the church's administrative leader, and he provides spiritual guidance to 1.4 billion Catholics around the world. And the duty to choose falls on the College of Cardinals. The College of Cardinals is a body of senior Catholic clergy who advise the Pope and, in the event of a vacancy, elect his successor. Cardinals serve as the Pope's closest advisors on matters of faith, doctrine, church governance, and global issues. They represent the Church at international events, and they meet with world leaders. There's no fixed number of cardinals. This year, 2025, there are 252 of them from many different countries. Each cardinal is appointed by a pope and serves for life. And then, about every 10 to 15 years, the College of Cardinals must perform its most solemn duty, election of a new pope. Not all cardinals can vote on a new pope. To participate in the election of a new pope, a cardinal must be under the age of 80 when the vacancy happens. The cardinals who are eligible are called the cardinal electors. Vatican policy says there should be just 120 of them, but the Conclave of 2025 will have a few more. When a pope dies, the Church observes an official mourning period of at least 9 days. Then, all the cardinals travel to the Vatican for a meeting called General Congregations. In the General Congregations, the cardinals set the stage for the coming papal election. They discuss the state of the Church, the challenges ahead, and the qualities needed in the next pope. In these meetings, the cardinals get to know each other better, and they start to form thoughts about who would make a good leader. The election process is called the Conclave. On day 1 of the Conclave, the cardinal electors celebrate a special Mass at St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. It's called the Mass for the Election of the Roman Pontiff, and its purpose is to ask for guidance in choosing the next pope. It sets a prayerful and solemn tone for what's to come. In the conclave, all cardinal electors, the cardinals under the age of 80, proceed to the Sistine Chapel in Vatican City. Conclave means with key in Latin, and during the conclave, the cardinals are locked inside the chapel to ensure secrecy. They have no contact with the outside world, and the outside world has no contact with them. Only a small number of support staff have access to the cardinals during the conclave. Cooks and doctors, for example. Once inside, the cardinals vote, and they begin voting relatively quickly. The first ballot is often taken the same day that the conclave begins. So how do the cardinals know who to vote for? Any baptized male is eligible to be pope, but for the last 600 years, the cardinals have chosen one of their own. They make their first choice based on their knowledge of each other and from what they learned during the general congregations. Remember, the general congregations are the pre-meetings in which cardinals speak about the state of the church and the challenges it faces in the future. This is where individual cardinals can make their views known, and the cardinal electors begin to think about who would make a suitable leader. Inside the conclave, though, there are no nominations and there are no speeches. There's no campaigning for the job. Cardinals vote in silence and in prayer. Every cardinal writes one name on a piece of paper. They place their secret ballots into a silver urn and proclaim before God that they have voted their conscience. When all the votes have been submitted, the results are read out inside the chapel, and the cardinals know who received votes and how many. To become pope, a cardinal needs a 2/3 majority of the votes. Most often, no cardinal receives a 2/3 majority on the first ballot. After the first ballot is complete, and after the results have been read out, the ballot papers are burned in a special stove in the chapel. If no cardinal has received 2/3 of the vote, a special chemical is added to the fire to turn the smoke black. Outside, cameras trained on the Sistine Chapel capture a plume of black smoke, and Catholics around the world know no pope was elected in the first round. The process repeats with up to 4 ballots per day, 2 in the mornings and 2 in the afternoons, until someone reaches the required number of votes. In between the ballots, cardinals may have private conversations. Cardinals who have received votes may choose to step aside to encourage their colleagues not to vote for them, but explicit campaigning is prohibited. Each time a ballot concludes, the ballot papers are burned, and each time no cardinal receives a 2/3 majority, the smoke is black. When a cardinal finally does reach that 2/3 majority, the dean of the College of Cardinals asks him, in Latin, "Do you accept your canonical election as Supreme Pontiff?" If he responds, "I accept," then he is the Pope. The dean then asks, again in Latin, "By what name shall you be called?" The new Pope chooses his papal name at that moment. The final ballots are then burned, and this time the smoke is white. The bells of St. Peter's Basilica ring, and the world knows a new Pope has been elected. The new Pope is taken into a special room in the chapel to change into his papal vestments, the ceremonial clothing of a pope. The Cardinal Protodeacon, a senior official, goes to the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica and announces, "We have a pope." He announces the birth name and the chosen papal name of the church's new leader. Minutes later, the new pope greets the faithful gathered outside. He gives his first blessing as pope, called "To the City and the World." There's a saying in Italian, "He who enters the conclave a pope comes out a cardinal." He who enters the conclave a pope comes out a cardinal. That means the front runner, the one who seems most likely to win at first, rarely ends up as pope. That's what multiple ballots can do. It's common for someone to build momentum and build support throughout the conclave. But of course, we can't study in detail since the ballot papers are secret and the cardinals are sworn to secrecy. In the Middle Ages, the election of a new pope could take weeks or even months. Different factions battled one another for supremacy. More recently, it has taken just a few days. One modern pope was elected on the first ballot. That was Pope Pius XII in 1939. That was the eve of World War II. Storm clouds were gathering in Europe, and the cardinals may have wanted to choose a new leader decisively. The more typical situation is that a new pope is chosen within a few days. Pope Francis was elected on the 5th ballot, Pope Benedict XVI on the 4th, Pope John Paul II on the 8th ballot. So this is May 5th, 2025. The conclave will probably begin soon. I'm recording this ahead of time, so I can't say for sure, but the conclave is supposed to begin between 15 and 20 days after a pope dies. 15 days would be tomorrow, Tuesday. So that's good timing. Now you know how the new pope will be elected. You can follow the events in the news and you'll know exactly what they're talking about. And I think we have stumbled into our theme for the month of May. So we'll make our theme religion. We'll keep it general. We'll see where it takes us in the coming weeks. But for now, it's time to say goodbye. We never say goodbye. We're just taking a 3-day break. This was episode number 772. So you can find the transcript, practice exercises, discussion area, and more at plainenglish.com/772. That is thanks to JR. plainenglish.com/772. See you back here on Thursday. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you like listening to stories in plain English, then you'll love learning English expressions with us. We have a brand new podcast called Essential English Expressions, and this one is seasonal. So we'll drop an entire season of expressions all at once. The first season is already available, ready for you to start listening. That's 14 special plain English episodes all together in a brand new podcast. Just search Essential English Expressions in your podcast player or click the link in the show notes.